Today's world, the relationships between China, the United States, and Russia are at the center of global politics. These three countries are constantly interacting, competing, and sometimes cooperating, shaping the direction of international affairs. Their actions influence everything from security and economics to technology and diplomacy. As we explore their complex ties, we'll see how their ambitions and rivalries create both opportunities and risks for the rest of the world. Let's begin by understanding the foundation of this global power struggle and what drives each nation's approach. Relationship between the United States and China is defined by intense strategic rivalry. While their economies are deeply intertwined, both countries are locked in competition over trade, technology, and military power. The U.S. sees China's rise as a challenge to its global leadership, while China seeks to expand its influence and secure its interests. This rivalry plays out on multiple fronts, from economic policies to military maneuvers in the Asia-Pacific region. Despite their differences, both nations recognize the need for limited cooperation, especially on issues like climate change and global trade stability. Despite their rivalry, the United States and China remain economically connected. Trade between the two countries supports millions of jobs and drives global growth. American companies rely on Chinese manufacturing, while China depends on access to U.S. markets and technology. However, disputes over tariffs, intellectual property, and market access have led to frequent tensions. Both sides are now seeking ways to reduce their dependence on each other, but complete separation is difficult given the scale of their economic relationship. Military competition is another major source of tension between the U.S. and China. The United States maintains a strong military presence in the Asia-Pacific, while China has rapidly expanded its own capabilities. Disputes over Taiwan and the South China Sea have led to frequent standoffs and military exercises. Both countries are investing heavily in advanced technologies like cyber warfare and artificial intelligence, raising concerns about the risk of conflict and the future balance of power in the region. Human rights are a persistent source of disagreement between the United States and China. The U.S. frequently criticizes China over issues such as treatment of ethnic minorities, freedom of speech, and political repression. China, in turn, accuses the U.S. of interfering in its internal affairs. These disputes often spill over into other areas of the relationship, making cooperation more difficult and fueling mistrust between the two governments. Despite their many differences, the United States and China do find areas for limited cooperation. Climate change is one such example, where both countries recognize the need for joint action to address global challenges. They also work together to maintain stability in global trade and financial systems. However, these areas of cooperation are often overshadowed by larger strategic disputes, making progress slow and fragile. Relationship between the United States and Russia is even more strained. Decades of mistrust, competition, and conflicting interests have created a deeply adversarial dynamic. Recent events such as Russia's actions in Ukraine and allegations of election interference have led to harsh sanctions and increased military posturing. The U.S. and its allies view Russia as a major threat to European security, while Russia accuses the West of trying to contain its influence. Allegations of Russian interference in U.S. and European elections have further damaged relations. The United States accuses Russia of using cyberattacks, disinformation, and covert operations to influence political outcomes. These actions have led to increased scrutiny, new sanctions, and efforts to strengthen cybersecurity. Russia denies these accusations, but the mistrust remains, fueling ongoing tensions between the two countries. Human rights are also a major point of contention between the United States and Russia. The U.S. criticizes Russia for suppressing political opposition, restricting free speech, and violating international norms. In response, Russia accuses the U.S. of double standards and interfering in its domestic affairs. These disputes add another layer of complexity to an already difficult relationship. War in Ukraine has become a defining issue in U.S.-Russia relations. The United States and its allies have provided significant support to Ukraine, including military aid and economic sanctions against Russia. This has led to heightened tensions, with Russia viewing NATO's expansion and Western involvement as direct threats. The conflict has reshaped security dynamics in Europe and deepened the divide between Russia and the West. While the U.S. and Russia remain at odds, China and Russia have moved closer together. Their partnership is driven by shared opposition to U.S. global dominance and a desire to protect their own interests. They cooperate on economic, diplomatic, and military fronts, though their relationship is more strategic than a formal alliance. Both countries benefit from working together, but each remains cautious to avoid overcommitting or risking their own priorities. China and Russia have strengthened their economic and military ties in recent years. They conduct joint military exercises, sign energy deals, and coordinate on major international issues. This partnership helps both countries counterbalance Western influence and pursue their own strategic goals. However, China often takes a careful approach, ensuring that its economic interests are not jeopardized by getting too close to Russia, especially when Western sanctions are involved. China's approach to its partnership with Russia is marked by cautious diplomacy. While supporting Russia politically, China is careful not to jeopardize its own economic interests or provoke unnecessary conflict with the West. This balancing act allows China to benefit from the partnership while maintaining flexibility in its foreign policy. It also highlights the complexity of modern international relations, where alliances are often fluid and driven by shifting interests. Interactions between China, the United States, and Russia are shaping a new multipolar world order. Instead of one country dominating global affairs, power is now distributed among several major players. The U.S. seeks to maintain its influence, China aims to expand its global role, and Russia challenges Western power. This shift creates new opportunities for cooperation, but also increases the risk of conflict and instability as countries compete for influence. As global events continue to unfold, the relationships between China, the United States, and Russia remain tense and unpredictable. Their competition spans economics, technology, and security, with each country seeking to advance its own interests. While cooperation is possible in certain areas, deep-seated mistrust and conflicting goals make lasting solutions difficult. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for anyone interested in world affairs, as the actions of these superpowers will continue to shape our future.